We all have cancerous cells in our bodies, right? So that's you have to understand you do have cancer. I have cancer. Everybody has cancer. It's just bad cells inside your body. As your cells mature and as they dysfunction, they're called sentient cells or sometimes called zombie cells within the body. But your body's natural process gets rid of those typically, right? But what happens is if your body's not operating correctly, they start collecting and they start gathering. And then once they start gathering, then they can become a problem, right? It can gather together, it can create a tumor, and then it becomes really smart. It hides from your immune system and then doesn't let your immune system know it's there as it's expanding and growing. And that's typically, in a very simplistic way to explain it, is how cancer survives and spreads throughout the body, and how people die is because of that. What you have to do is understand how the cancer is feeding itself, because if it can't feed itself, it can't grow and it can't spread. So that's the first thing, is how do you starve your specific cancer? Because you got to, one, understand what you have. Two, I think that's important. And then once you understand what you have, then you need to understand how it feeds a specific version. Here's a great example: is I have melanoma and it's got a BRAF mutation. And so as I was doing research on cancer, because it kind of it comes to part of an answer to your question, is what can you do? Diet is like very, very important. What we
Mm,
are, what we eat, right? As human beings, and our body will take what we eat and it will process it to either function good or function bad. And so you need to look at what you are consuming, and because cancer specifically loves sugar, right? It loves the carbohydrates that come from it. It just feeds off it, and so it's literally sugar is. I'm finding out. I used to love sugar, and it's a poison to the body, and your body will use it in a really, really bad way. So, my first recommendation to anybody is like 100% stop all sugar in the body, and then you need to start refining that. There's even it gets even more complex, but it is possible. So my version of melanoma has a BRAF mutation, and as when I first started my understanding of the human body and of cancer specifically, I was researching nutrition, right? Doing a cancer diet. What's the best cancer diet? And of course, there's million different recommendations, and I decided to do a keto diet because keto diet has been proven to help with a lot of people with cancers. So I did a keto. I'm like, keto. I like keto for me specifically because I love meats, right? And I love cheese, and so I would do keto was easy for me. I'm like, okay, good, I can do a keto diet, no problem. And so I did a keto diet, and what I found out is I got the genetic markup of my cancer. I have that BRAF mutation, and I was reading a book. It's called How to Starve Cancer, by Jane McClelland. And it's a great book. I highly recommend it to anybody that is interested in helping other people with cancer, or if you have cancer, get that, because she explains specifically how you starve cancer. And then you got to find out with your particular version of cancer, because like I mentioned, there's hundreds of different kinds of cancer. And then even my cancer, melanoma, my BRAF mutation acts differently than the other ones do. And what I found out, what was so frustrating to me, was my BRAF mutation feeds not only off of sugar and carbohydrates, but it feeds off of saturated fats. And I'm like, oh crap! For 6 months, I was feeding my cancer what it wanted.
mm.
It wanted my high saturated fats, my bacon that I love, right? The ribeyes that I would eat. It 100% matched my keto diet, but it was also feeding my cancer. And it was like, well, crap. So then I had to, once I learned that BRAF mutation likes saturated fat, I had to then take all saturated fat out of my diet. And then the combination and low saturated fats really transitioned, and it is helping my other therapy. And then I'm smart, right? I'm like, how do I take what the current medical system will do, and how can I leverage the best of what that will do with what the best of alternative healthcare solutions are doing? Because I was looking at everything, right? What are all these things that could help me, and then how do I navigate that?
What is up? Thanks for being here at the end of the episode. Obviously, you've enjoyed it and it's helped you find your true form. And I bet you know somebody that's going to help find their true form as well. So I'd appreciate it if you could copy this show link, send it to one friend or family member and say, hey, have a listen to this. It's going to help you find your true form. They'll probably have no idea what you're talking about, but it will help them. And I'd appreciate if you could do that. Also, all podcast platforms these days have some sort of algorithm. So the more you interact with this episode, the better it's going to perform and help reach more people and help them find their true form as well. So 5-star review, positive comment, like, share, comment, however you can interact with the episode. I'd appreciate that. And everybody listening that hasn't heard of the True Form podcast is going to appreciate it as well.